Cruise news time. Well, there's a pile of it, like so much I may have to make 2 shows today, but in this show, let's talk about the cruise chaos that continues as a senator has taken aim again at the cruise industry, calling for a cruise shutdown, telling the CDC to do their job. And, well, it raises a couple questions. Should cruising shut down? Is this guy right? And is the CDC doing their job? Let's just tackle those 2 things today. Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. And wow, it's, again, there's a lot popping off. I could probably talk for an hour about cruise news, but we'll try to give you a short 10 to 15 minute show today. Hope everybody is doing well. December the 29th, 2021, just a couple days left in 2021. And we have a senator taking aim at the cruise industry, suggesting the CDC should be doing more. And let's just track through all of that. But first, let's give a big thanks to the sponsor of today's show, Surfshark VPN. We're living in challenging times, and that is no more true and continues to be true when you surf the internet on public Wi-Fi. Are you at the Starbucks? Are you at the hotel? Are you on the cruise ship surfing on public Wi-Fi? Well, guess what? There's ne'er-do-wells out there looking to steal your personal information. And just like when you go out into the freezing cold, you put on a jacket. When you go surfing in the coldness of public Wi-Fi, you need some sort of tool to keep you safe. VPN is that tool, virtual private network, a tool to encrypt your private data as it makes its way onto the internet, and a tool that is very easy to use, especially if you use Surfshark VPN. You can put the app on your phone, you can put the app on your computer. It's a one-click turn on, get you connected and protected when you get onto the internet. And the beautiful thing about Surfshark VPN is they only charge you one price for all of your devices. And Surfshark VPN always has a great deal for the locafam. If you'd like to try Surfshark VPN, use the link in the description and the promo code LOCA to get 83% off the cost and 4 months for free. Also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee so that you can try out Surfshark VPN without any risk to you. It's good stuff. Protect yourself on the internet. Thanks for sponsoring today's show, Surfshark VPN. Let's go and talk about Senator Blumenthal. Senator Blumenthal, one of the senators from Connecticut, he recently made this tweet: "Our warnings have proved sadly prescient and continuously compelling. Time for the CDC and cruise lines to protect consumers and again pause docking their ships. Cruises are repeating recent history as petri dishes of COVID infection." Now, the basis for his outcry is the fact that the majority of cruise ships that are sailing in the U.S. Are being investigated by the CDC. They have turned yellow on the CDC chart. This kind of line of rationale annoys me to no end. To say that the world is like it was in March of 2020, that the approach to COVID on cruise ships is like it was in March of 2020, to say that anything that we're doing right now is like it was in March of 2020, is ridiculous. The guy that always goes at cruising, again, I feel like he's going at cruising without a full understanding. I don't know the guy. I'm not saying anything against him, but it does seem like he's running with the headlines, and we know that the headlines don't necessarily tell the story. Anybody out there that are just reading headlines and forming their opinion, that's bad too. When do we get to be a place where you just read a headline and that's how you form your opinion? But especially in a world where headlines are there to entice you to watch the full content. So many people just living in the headlines. Headline: CDC investigates 88 cruise ships, and then drawing the conclusions from 2020. Well, cases on cruise ships in 2020, that was bad. So cases on cruise ships in 2021, that must be bad. 88 investigations, let's shut it down. It's a weak argument to say the least. But it begs the question, is the CDC doing their job? Well, we can check in on that. We can easily find out if the CDC is doing their job. Let me kick it over to the computer and show you exactly how you can see what the CDC is doing in this circumstance. Look, I also want to talk about why we're seeing a lot of cases with the crew, at least my opinion of why we're seeing cases with the crew. And I also want to talk about a few more things. So, but yeah, let's jump over to the computer and go from there. All right, let's go to CDC color chart. cruise ships. You think I'd have that bookmarked? I go to it so much. But look, it is hyperlinked. You can tell I've read it before. All right, here we are. Here it is. Eligibility for cruise ship status. Now, the big headline that is circulating right now, 88 cruise ships are being investigated by the CDC. Now, is that a true statement? Well, certainly. If you look here, there's a lot of yellow cruise ships. Yellow, when you see the yellow status, that triggers the CDC investigation. That means it's time to investigate the cruise ship. And so if it's yellow, it must be really bad, right? Well, here, let's go back and look at what makes yellow the color. If we look at the threshold for yellow criteria, the ship is at or above the CDC's investigation threshold. Cases reported in 0.10 or more of the passengers, or one or more cases reported in the crew. So, did you get that? One or more cases reported in the crew. The only thing it takes for the CDC to investigate is one positive case in the crew. So yeah, 88 cruise ships are yellow right now, and so they've met that criteria. Now, if you read the notes, you can see CDC has started an investigation. CDC has started an investigation. CDC has investigated, and the ship remains under investigation. CDC has started an investigation. CDC has investigated, and the ship remains under observation. What does that tell you? First of all, it tells you that these cruise ships can go yellow with just one case in the crew. And then it also shows you that for some of these ships, the CDC looked at it and said, okay, you're good to go. We're going to keep observing you, but we're not going to stop you from cruising. It's a weird insinuation that just because these cruise ships are yellow, that it means that something's drastically wrong. Certainly, have cases increased on cruise ships over the last few weeks because of the Omicron variant? Yes. Have cases increased amongst the crew? Yes. But has it risen to a level where the CDC has found it necessary to shut down these cruise ships after doing an investigation? So far, the answer is no. But yet, we have the senator over here running with the salacious headlines. 88 cruise ships are being investigated, hence, therefore, and ergo, we should shut down cruising. I get it. I get it. You want to be the hero. You want to be the person that protects the world from COVID. But the reality is the cruise line, unlike any other place where people congregate together, a high rate of vaccination, a high rate of protocol, a high rate of masking, distancing. I'm hard pressed to think of other places that have that level of vaccination and protocol. And again, it's easy to run with the headlines and kind of kick the cruise industry. I'm probably preaching to the cruise faithful here, but I do want to address what we're seeing in the news, and we're seeing this full frontal attack against cruising and asking for cruising to shut down. I don't think it's warranted. Now, I do have some thoughts on why I think we're seeing more cases in crew members. I am going to share that with you, but first I'd like to invite you to subscribe if you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in I can't even get the jab. I'm so annoyed with this. Cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. We talk about cruise news on the daily. We'd love to have you in this community. You can be a part of the Loca fam. Hit the subscribe button. All right, why do I think, and look, this is me completely speculating. This is me taking the stuff that I've been researching for the last bit and kind of overlaying it on the situation that we see. It does appear in many of these cases that we're seeing an increase of cases in the crew, more so than in passengers. The first question, if these folks are not presenting symptoms, then how are we finding out that they're positive? Crew members, there is a testing regimen for crew members. Royal Caribbean sent out a letter saying that their front of the house people are tested every 3 days, and then there's a testing regimen for the back of the house people. And so in normal routine testing, we're starting to see an increase of positive cases in crew members. Why is that? Why more so crew members that are vaccinated than guests that are vaccinated? Again, this is me speculating, but I remember when we were talking about crew members getting vaccinated, that many times they were being vaccinated with a 1-dose shot, the Johnson & Johnson. And what we've learned over time is that the vaccines that were developed for the original virus, over time, their efficiency, their efficacy, it wanes. The antibody level drops over time after you've gotten your first vaccine. That's why there is a call for getting boosted, and they know it based based on the different types of vaccine. And so I've shared this chart a couple times. Let me share it one more time, but pay close attention down there to the one-shot Johnson & Johnson. The CDC is suggesting that if you got a Johnson & Johnson shot more than 2 months ago, that you really need to get boosted if you want to have maximum protection against the virus, and specifically Omicron. So, here's my supposition, that you have these crew members on board. Many of them got the one-shot dose. Not everybody's been able to get their booster. I would assume when I was on the Odyssey of the Seas, they were going through getting their booster, but that takes a whole process. So my assumption is that if you looked at a lot of these cases that are on board amongst crew members, my guess, and again, I don't have the data on this, my guess would be that you would find many of those breakthrough cases to be in that single shot Johnson & Johnson. Now, fortunately, what we know about Omicron is even though it's highly transmissible, it's not resulting in severe COVID. And so as we're seeing, as it breaks through vaccines, we don't see people getting severely ill. We also see like guidance from the CDC where you don't have to stay isolated as long. And so there's a lot of positive things going along with the Omicron, but still scary nonetheless when you see fully vaccinated people get a breakthrough case. But so far, so good. I kind of wish the cruise lines would come out and kind of make a statement as to why they feel like there are more crew member cases, or why they see an increase in crew member cases if it is tied to that whole, waning of the vaccine. But also, I did this interesting poll yesterday on the community tab. About 4,000 of you participated. And the reason I put that poll up there is I wanted you guys to start thinking about how long ago you got your vaccine. Again, refer to the CDC chart here that says that if you've had the Moderna or the Pfizer and it's been 6 months, then you really should get boosted. If you had the Johnson & Johnson, you really should get boosted, or you run a greater risk at getting the virus that's out there right now. Again, all that's up to you, but I wanted to put that out there, the recommendation from the CDC, so that you can have eyes wide open when it comes to this idea of where you're at with your vaccine timeline. There's that. So what's our takeaway at the end of the day? Again, I see case after case of people making some serious logical errors, running with the headlines without knowing what's behind it. Huge error. You're going to step in a big old pile of wrong if that's all you do. Believing that things don't change. Believing that the approach to this virus should be the same here in December of 2021 as it was in March of 2020. Believing that the approach to the vaccine from January of 2021 should be the same approach here as December of 2021. It just doesn't make sense. It's kind of like saying whichever football team wins the very first game of the season is the Super Bowl champion. It completely negates the fact that, things happen over time and things change over time. And so you can't crown the Super Bowl champion based off the winner of the very first game, just in the same way as you can't make assumptions about the virus and the vaccine based on old data. You got to look at what's going on right now, the wins, the losses, the things that we've learned to be informed. And so if you're out there just with the same idea that you were in March of 2020, then you're way behind. You're way behind any rational conversation that really needs to be had right now. And then finally, is the CDC doing their job or not? It certainly seems like they're doing what they said they would do. They have a criteria for investigating cruise ships. They're being investigated. They're clearing those investigations. I don't know how you make the case that they're not doing the job and they're not shutting down cruising. So you got to take all that into consideration and keep going forward when it comes to cruising. But hey, all of that's just my take. I would love to hear yours. I'm going to challenge you to not make it about Republican and Democrat. I think this guy's a Democrat. I would challenge you to not make it about that and make it about does it make sense to make decisions on old learning? Because that's plaguing both sides of the aisle heavily. If you could make it non-political, that would be a challenge. Some people can't do that, but I don't think it's political. I think it's about being wrong in your thinking. That's what I think. Let's have that conversation in the comments. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. Please share your support by hitting the like button, or I'm going to require you to turn your car in for a horse, because that's how we used to do it. And shouldn't we just stay with how we used to do it? No more cars, horses only. Or even trade your horse in for some shoes and just walk around, or something like that. Get a rotary dial. Life changes. All right, hit the like button. This is Tony with Lido. Until the next time, see you on Lido.